It's Wednesday, October 15th, and a big severe weather system has moved inland from the Pacific. This is the one that caused a lot of problems out here in Southern California and Los Angeles, actually bringing the first severe warned weather system to the area in over a decade. But now it has moved over parts of the upper plains. We can see we have two isolated marginal risk. I think this could actually be one complete one, really. And this stretches all the way down from central New Mexico all the way up to central South Dakota. Now, the main risk with this is going to be for some damaging winds in excess of 60 miles an hour, maybe some gust around 60 to 70 miles an hour also. And also in both of our areas, there is going to be that potential for a hail threat as well, maybe seeing some hail in that realm of 1 to 1.5 inches in diameter. Nothing really crazy though. And then for a tornado threat, it isn't really outlined by the Storm Prediction Center at all. However, I do think that there is a non-zero chance of a couple of tornadoes, specifically in parts of northeastern Colorado. And this is how it looks like the weather is going to unfold today. We're going to have a couple of things kind of initiating our storms, but the main thing is going to be that really strong trough, maybe even a bit of a prefrontal trough, helping to touch off this cluster of storms out here in Colorado, Nebraska, South Dakota, and Wyoming. And then, of course, that big low pressure center back there associated with our trough, and even a embedded low kind of over the Denver area, increasing the shear values for a lot of our storms. Now, one of the reasons why I did say that I wouldn't be surprised to see a non-zero tornado potential out here in parts of northeastern Colorado is because that looks like that's where there's going to be a warm front, maybe increasing these shear values and hoping to get these storms a little bit more surface based. One of the main reasons why there's actually not a tornado risk associated with these storms today is because not only do we have some pretty low CAPE values, but also our storms aren't really expected to be surface based. They're expected to be a bit more higher based, which will be supportive of that more hail and damaging wind threat. But we can definitely see a lot of clusters of some organized rotating storms, likely severe, kind of around northern New Mexico, stretching all the way through central Colorado into parts of Nebraska by around the late afternoon, maybe early evening hours. And after this round from our prefrontal trough kind of goes off, we might just see a bit of a squall kind of from some outflow out here in parts of eastern Colorado develop. By that time, likely won't really be pushing severe characteristics, and we also could see just a lot more clusters of a lot of wind and rain, probably not severe though, in parts of Wyoming and South Dakota develop. However, as we go later into the night hours, the ARRR is hinting at a couple more organized clusters, specifically in parts of eastern Wyoming, as that big low pressure system kind of moves more eastward, bringing just so much organizing shear that these storms are just going to start rotating despite their pretty disorganized look. But moving a bit more back west, this is going to give us a really good look at that low pressure center, which is kind of the big thing causing that big trough, bringing a lot of our severe weather. And this is going to just bring a lot of windy and rainy weather. And then, of course, the weather that it's kind of creating from forcing, but the storms directly caused by it kind of around its center. Likely just going to be a lot of wind and rain in parts of Nevada, Utah, and Idaho. And we've been talking about that big trough. Here it is. There's just going to be so much strong throw pushing through the southwest. This is going to bring a lot of forcing for our storms, helping to kind of force them up, if you will, just initiate them. And then also we're going to see this prefrontal trough, kind of looks like a thumb coming off of our main trough. This is going to be the reason why we're going to see a lot of storms initiated out here and kind of that corridor highlighted by the Storm Prediction Center around the late afternoon hours. And as we go later in today, we're just going to see that flow persist over quite a bit of the region, kind of bringing a lot more of those storm clusters as we go later in today. Also, that high pressure ridge over the southern plains and Mississippi River Valley is going to stay strong, bringing a lot more organizing shear to our storms, helping them to get organized and bring those severe threats. And this is a pretty good look at the environment in front of our storms today is going to look like. It's going to be kind of the same thing everywhere you look up and down that frontal area with that trough. We're going to have a lot of dry air aloft. Not really that much CAPE, but once again, for the fourth or third day in a row, our shear values are just going to be absolutely carrying our storms today. We're going to see just a absurd amount of bulk shear almost 60 knots. We're undoubtedly going to see some rotating organized storms with some updrafts likely being severe. Then even our low level shear isn't that poor. 100 surface helicity and almost 20 knots of low level shear. The only thing hindering our tornado threat, other than there not really being that much cape at all, is just going to be the higher based nature of these storms. However, if we do have a couple more storms get lower based near that warm front in parts of northeastern Colorado, I wouldn't be surprised to see a bit more of a tornado threat develop out there. But with this setup, it looks like we're going to mostly be looking at a threat of some damaging winds across our main corridor for some severe weather. And then that hail threat looks pretty small, really going to be carried by that bulk shear, maybe some stronger updrafts, maybe some smaller hail in that 1 to 1.5 inch region. But that looks like that's going to be pretty much it for our severe weather today.